So, our first situation that we're looking at is measurement, and how can we determine how many degrees it is to turn this knob? So this is the knob that we have, um, and how can we determine how many degrees that you will have to turn the knob to actually open the door? So how would I get students to complete this problem? I would actually have them do it. Um, so in throughout our building, there are several doors that I use the same key, but I may turn them to the left a little bit, turn them to the right, 90 degrees, or what have you. And so having students see that and be able to take measurements. So one way I would have them do that is maybe I will have some different doors that I know open different ways, and then have them maybe construct some data. So maybe like a little sketch of, this is sort of the starting point. How far must I turn? And then they draw the line from the center out so that then they represent sort of the circle. And then they could start to measure it. Some of my students that are a little more familiar with like the clock and saying a quarter past, the hour, I could relate it to the clock. But with the advent of cell phones and the digital timing, not all my students are really familiar with the clock and being able to make that relationship of what's 20 past the hour or 10 past the hour, and then relating that to the circle. So I thought, to not teach clock, I would go with them actually just drawing their data and then coming up, well, how did they open the lock? And then maybe having students use their information. So this is the door lock, and we label the door lock, and this is the door lock, and this is how you open it. So turn to the right 45 degrees, or turn to the right 90 degrees. And another student will use that direction to see if it worked or not based on their description. And so that they could see if their description was helpful in measuring. Um, and then as we're looking at measurements and seeing the sort of the importance of measurements, this will kind of help them to see why it's important to have this common language of measurements. Just like in texting, they know what, I can't think of something is LOL means, I guess, or something, and is sort of a common language. So then our next question goes to number 43. And why I chose 43 is I am heading to geometry, but what I wanted to do was I chose this problem sort of to build before I get to sort of geometry, the more abstract, just looking at different shapes, so they could take these same concepts that they did before. They're now looking at two-dimensional shapes, like I can't remember the other problem in like chapter 25. So looking at this problem, having students know, well, the bow is going to be 25 centimeters. And so they needed to add that amount to whatever they needed for the ribbon itself. And have them probably calculate. I probably wouldn't give them this problem like this per se. I would give them something more concrete. So I may give them an actual box, maybe different boxes, and have them determine how much ribbon they need. And then have them cut the ribbon and see if that's enough ribbon to make the bow. So then they can learn through their trial and error of what measurements they need, because then I could see how well they did. They calculated the perimeter of this side, the bottom, and the top, plus having dimensions around this way as well. Um, and by them calculating it first and then determining how much ribbon they need and then seeing if that ribbon was enough, then they could see, ooh, we forgot a side without me having to tell them, ooh, think about all of the sides of the box, but let them explore it and then be able to see how much ribbon they actually needed. So that they would do that several times before they would get to a problem like this, which I would say this is a little bit more abstract, where they don't have the ribbon, is more representational, and then they have to figure it out. So using what they learned through the hands-on activities of measuring different boxes with different types of ribbon, which is a perfect time because it's sort of the gift giving season. So have them wrap up some boxes of different things. So we could just make it a great activity for them in determining how much ribbon they need to wrap up a box. And I could have like little things in there for them later or something. I thought it was kind of cute. So that is basically it, I think.